Hi everybody. This is the first big problem I had when I thought about this was I heard Kumar said you have to tell a true story. So can you imagine the challenge it is for an Irishman to tell a story for 10 minutes, which is all true for the whole 10 minutes. Anyway, I've worked on it all day today, and now I think maybe I can stick to the script. So the story is about how it was that, so I like to travel a lot. So how it was that I came to like traveling and how it all began. And it all actually also has a Bavarian connection, a strong Bavarian connection to how it happened. But the start of the thing was way back when I went to a small school in Ireland, in Tipperary, which is where I come from. And in that school we had a really good teacher. And her favourite thing was geography. So in her classroom she had a huge big map of Europe high on the wall. And all the countries of Europe were marked out in different colours. And every day we could look at the map and say, here is this and here is that, and here is all the capital cities. And way over on the left-hand side of the map was Ireland, and a tiny little blue piece of the Atlantic. And all the way over on the other side of the map was a tiny little blue piece also, and that was the Black Sea. So that was the start, I think, of my interest in the countries and so forth. So I thought, someday I'm going to go to these countries, I'm going to see it. So when I got to about 18, I went hitchhiking. And I hitchhiked down to the south of Ireland, over to the Atlantic. And there, my first big experience happened. I was only in the campsite for about an hour. And then there was a sound like a roll of thunder. I looked around, and in through the gate was coming 20 German bikers. And this is true, they were from Bavaria, and to me I had never seen anything like it in my life. They were like cavemen, but mostly hair, and they had but cavemen in denim and leather, and 10 of them and 10 girls with them, also in denim and leather. And if they had come down from the sky in a spaceship and climbed out, it could not be more unbelievable in this place where I was. So they came right up to where I was camped, and they parked right here, and they began to construct a small village from all their bikes and tents and everything around the big circle. And that evening they began to cook. And I was cooking also beside them, and they looked over at my tiny little pot with my tiny little gas burner, and they had a giant big pot with a massive gas burner, and they were laughing like this. So eventually they couldn't look any longer, and they took my little pot and they brought it over and they tipped it into their big pot and they just stirred it all in. Said, no, you can eat with us, it's okay. They couldn't bear to watch. So from that night on, they kind of adopted me for the week. And every night they would bring out their guitar and their tiny little accordion they had and play German music and drink beer, and it was a brilliant week for me. And because they were so unusual in the place, lots of other people came also, and I remember there were some Swedish guys and some Finns and lots of English guys, and by the time the week was over, I knew that is what I have to do. I have to get over there and see all these people, see it for real. So the following year, off I went, hitchhiking across Europe, no real destination in mind. I said, I have time, I will go where I can go and I will see where I end up. And after maybe about, well, I got to Munich anyway for a start, for about a week here in Munich that time, 1991 I think. And eventually, after about 9 weeks, I found myself in Bulgaria. And that time people hitchhiked all the time. It was a normal thing to do. It was quite easy. But if I was ever having any problems finding a lift, I would just start to hitchhike both directions. Anybody who passed, if they're going this way, if they're going this way, I had no destination really to worry about. So often in the evening I would end up in a place and I would no idea where I was. So one day I was hitchhiking and things were going very bad. So a guy came in a large truck and he offered me a lift the wrong direction. And so I climbed in the back of his truck, he was in the front, I couldn't speak to him. And he drove, and I fell asleep pretty quick. So some hours later I woke, and where am I? And outside the truck he had just stopped and blipped his horn for me to jump out. So I looked around and there was a very large lake, I thought, beside where I was. My God, where am I? I have no idea. A lake here. I had no memory of a lake. So then I had a memory. I remember that big map on the wall when I was young in my school. Maybe that it could be the Black Sea. Impossible. How will I know? So the only way I could know, I walked down over the fence of the road, down through the fields, and I came to the water, and I had to bend like this and taste the water. And the water was salt. Yes! It's the Black Sea, I can't believe it. I have gone all the way across the map. I am running out of map. I might have to get a bigger map. So, a question I have before I leave you is, if you, because you are so young, we're all very young people here today, maybe you may ask your parents if you go home, or maybe you're old enough, were any of you in Ireland in about 1990 in a campsite in Dingle? And if they were, or if you were, you're partly responsible for why it is that I love travelling today. I still do it all the time. So, thank you very much for that.
Thank you very much.